Kim Tae-ho walked through the doors of the Galactic Academy gymnasium. His footsteps echoed in the huge room. Every alien student in the place stopped what they were doing and stared at him. The silence was so thick he could almost touch it. Tae-ho looked around the gym. It was bigger than any sports hall back on Earth. Strange equipment hung from the ceiling. Some machines glowed with soft blue light. Others made quiet humming sounds. The floor was made of something that looked like metal but felt soft under his feet. The alien students were unlike anything he had seen in movies. One group had bodies like giant insects. Their arms were thin and sharp. Their eyes were huge and black. Another group looked like walking trees. Green leaves grew from their arms and heads. A third group seemed to be made of gas trapped inside clear suits. They floated a few inches off the ground. "Attention, students," said a voice. Tae-ho turned to see Professor Veltar walking toward them. The teacher was tall and thin. Her body looked like it was made of clear crystal. Light moved through her like water. When she walked, she made soft ringing sounds. "We have a new student today," Professor Veltar said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. "This is Kim Tae-ho from Earth," the alien students whispered to each other. Tae-ho heard the word Deathworlder many times. He knew what it meant. The Galactic Council called Earth a death world because it was dangerous. Most alien planets were safe and peaceful. Earth had storms, earthquakes, wild animals, and wars. Tae-ho bowed politely. It was the Korean way to show respect. Back home, his grandmother had taught him to always be polite to teachers and elders. But when he bowed, the alien students started laughing. They made their own bows back to him, but theirs were silly and exaggerated. "Look, the Deathworlder thinks he is better than us," said one of the insect-like aliens. His name was Crix. "He bows like he is some kind of king." "Maybe he is scared," said another alien. This one looked like a big cat that walked on two legs. His name was Vorth. Golden fur covered his body. His teeth were sharp and white. All Deathworlders are just scared animals. Tae-ho felt his face get hot, but he did not say anything. He had learned to control his anger. Back on Earth, getting angry too fast could get you hurt or killed. Here, he was the only human among dozens of aliens. Starting a fight would be stupid. "Tae-ho," called a voice in Korean. He turned to see another human student walking toward him. The boy was shorter than Tae-ho and wore the same blue gym uniform. "I am Park Ji-woo. I have been here for 6 months. It is good to meet someone from home," Tae-ho said, also in Korean. "Be careful," Ji-woo whispered. "The aliens here think we are dangerous monsters. They believe humans are savage and stupid. They call us Deathworlders like it is a bad word." Professor Veltar clapped her crystal hands together. The sound rang through the gym like a bell. "Today we will do basic fitness tests. These exercises are designed for civilized species. I hope our new student can keep up." The first test was running. The aliens lined up at a white line painted on the floor. Tae-ho and Ji-woo stood with them. Professor Veltar explained that they would run 400 meters around the gym. She said this was considered very difficult for most species. "This will be interesting," Vorth said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Let us see how fast the savage Deathworlders can run." Professor Veltar made a high ringing sound to start the race. Tae-ho began running at an easy pace. Back in Korea, he had run much longer distances in school. 400 meters was nothing special. The insect-like aliens moved their thin legs very fast, but they were not actually fast. The tree-like aliens walked more than ran. Their heavy bodies moved slowly. The gas aliens floated along, but they seemed to get tired quickly. Tae-ho passed all of them easily. He was not even breathing hard. Ji-woo was right behind him. They finished the race while the fastest alien was only halfway done. Crix, the insect alien, finally crossed the line almost 3 minutes later. He was breathing so hard his whole body shook. "Impossible," Vorth said, staring at the two humans. "No civilized being can run that fast." "Maybe they cheated," said Bloom, one of the tree-like aliens. Her voice sounded like wind through leaves. Deathworlders are known for breaking rules. Professor Veltar looked at a small device in her hand. It showed the race times. "The humans completed the run in 58 seconds, she announced. "This is unusual." "It is just Deathworlder brutality," Crix said. "They push their bodies too hard. It is not natural or civilized." Tae-ho wanted to explain that running was normal on Earth. Humans had evolved to run long distances, but he could see that the aliens had already made up their minds about him. They did not want to understand. They just wanted to believe that humans were brutal and stupid. The next test was jumping. The aliens had to jump over a bar that was 1 meter high. Most of them could barely clear it. Some needed 3 tries. When Taiho's turn came, he jumped over easily. The bar could have been twice as high and he still would have made it. "Show off," muttered one of the gas aliens. The third test was lifting weights. The aliens struggled to lift metal bars that weighed about as much as a backpack full of books. Taiho lifted weights that were 3 times heavier without any problem. "This is not fair," Vorth complained to Professor Veltar. "The Deathworlders have an unfair advantage. Their brutal planet made them too strong." "Perhaps," Professor Veltar said. She did not sound convinced, but she did not defend the humans either. "We will adjust the difficulty for different species next time." After class, the alien students gathered in groups and whispered about the humans. Taiho heard words like savage, brutal, and uncivilized many times. He and Jiwoo walked to the changing room together. "Do they always act like this?" Taiho asked. "Always," Jiwoo said sadly. "They think strength means you have no honor. They think helping others means you are weak. Their worlds are so safe and easy that they do not understand what it means to survive. But we were polite to them. We did not try to hurt anyone. It does not matter. They have decided we are monsters. Nothing we do will change their minds easily." Taiho looked back at the aliens through the changing room door. They were still talking about the humans. Their voices were full of fear and disgust. He had come to the Galactic Academy hoping to learn about other species. He wanted to make friends from different worlds. Instead, he found only prejudice and hatred, but Taiho did not give up easily. His grandmother had taught him that respect was earned through actions, not words. Maybe the aliens were wrong about humans. Maybe with time and patience he could show them what humans were really like. He just had to find the right opportunity. 2 weeks had passed since Taiho first entered the Galactic Academy gymnasium. Things had not gotten better. If anything, the alien students seemed to dislike the humans even more. They whispered cruel things when the humans walked by. They laughed when the humans tried to be friendly. Today was different, though. Professor Veltar had announced that they would have a special interspecies competition. The gymnasium was decorated with colorful banners from different alien worlds. Strange music played from hidden speakers. Taiho was not alone anymore. Lee Damin had joined the gym class just 3 days ago. She was a quiet girl with short black hair and smart eyes. Like Taiho and Jiwoo, she came from Korea. The 3 humans sat together on the metal benches watching the aliens prepare for the competition. "What do you think they will make us do?" Damin asked in Korean. "Something they think we cannot do," Jiwoo answered. "They want to prove that humans are stupid." Vorth, the cat-like alien, stood in front of a group of his friends. His golden fur shone under the gymnasium lights. His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. "Today we will show these Deathworlders their place. We have designed the perfect test for savage minds." Crix, the insect alien, rubbed his thin arms together. It made a scratching sound. "The Deathworlders think they are strong because they can run and jump. But strength without intelligence is worthless." Bloom, the tree-like alien, swayed gently as she spoke. Her leaves rustled with each word. "We will create challenges that require both body and mind. The Deathworlders will fail because they only know how to use force." Professor Veltar called everyone to gather around a huge obstacle course that had been set up in the center of the gym. It was more complex than anything Taiho had seen before. There were walls to climb, ropes to swing on, puzzles to solve, and narrow beams to balance on. Different colored lights flashed at various stations. "This course requires teamwork, strategy, and intelligence," Professor Veltar explained. "Each species will form a team. The goal is not just to finish, but to finish together. No team member can be left behind." The alien students smiled at each other. They believed this would be easy for them and impossible for the humans. After all, they came from advanced civilizations. They had science and technology. The humans came from a primitive death world. "The Deathworlders will probably just run straight through and break everything," Vorth said loudly. "They do not understand patience or planning." The competition began with the other alien teams going first. The insect aliens moved quickly but could not coordinate with each other. They kept going in different directions. The tree aliens were slow but steady. However, they had trouble with the parts that required climbing or jumping. The gas aliens in their clear suits worked well together, but they were weak. When they reached the heavy lifting section, they could not move the required objects. Each team had different strengths and weaknesses, but none of them completed the course perfectly. Finally, it was the humans' turn. Taeho, Jiwoo, and Damin stood at the starting line. The aliens gathered around to watch their expected failure. Some of them were already laughing. "Remember," Jiwoo whispered, "they expect us to be stupid and brutal. Let us show them something different." The three humans began the course. At the first obstacle, they had to climb a tall wall. Instead of racing to the top, they worked together. Taeho climbed first and dropped a rope for the others. Jiwoo helped Damin get a good grip. Damin used her smaller size to squeeze through a gap and unlock a door from the other side. The aliens stopped laughing. This was not what they expected. At the second station, there was a complex puzzle involving colored lights and symbols. The alien teams had struggled with this for many minutes, but Damin looked at it for only a few seconds before she understood the pattern. She explained it quickly to the others and they solved it together. "Impossible," Bloom whispered. "How did the Deathworlder female solve it so fast?" The course continued with more challenges. At each station, the humans showed teamwork and intelligence. When Jiwoo got tired on the rope swing, Taeho and Damin supported him. When Damin was too short to reach something, the boys lifted her up. When Taeho's strength was needed, the others guided him to use it efficiently. But the most surprising moment came at the 7th station. Bloom, who had finished the course with her team earlier, had gotten tangled in some loose ropes near the climbing wall. Her branch-like arms were twisted painfully. She was crying soft sounds like wind through dying leaves. The other alien teams had walked past her without stopping. In their cultures, helping competitors was seen as weakness or interference. Taeho was in the lead when he saw Bloom struggling. Without hesitation, he stopped running. "Damin, Jiwoo, help me," he called. "But the competition," Damin said. "She is hurt," Taeho replied simply. The three humans carefully untangled Bloom from the ropes. Her bark-like skin had small cuts where the ropes had twisted too tight. Damin used water from her bottle to clean the wounds. Jiwoo found soft cloth to wrap around the damaged areas. "Why?" Bloom asked in confusion. "Why help me?" "I am your competitor. I said cruel things about Deathworlders." "Because you needed help," Taeho said. "That is what people do." The gymnasium had gone completely silent. Every alien student was staring. They could not understand what they were seeing. In their advanced civilizations, competition was pure. You did not help enemies or competitors. It made no logical sense. "This proves it," Vorth said, but his voice was quieter than before. "Deathworlders are too stupid to understand competition. They waste time and energy on meaningless gestures." Professor Veltar checked her timer device. "The human team has used 12 minutes helping the Verdanian student. They will receive penalty points for excessive time." "We do not care about penalty points," Jiwoo said. The humans finished the course. Even with the time penalty, their teamwork and problem-solving had been impressive. But the aliens did not see it that way. They saw weakness and stupidity. "As expected," Crix announced. The Deathworlders failed to understand the nature of civilized competition. They allowed emotion to interfere with logic. Their primitive minds cannot separate personal feelings from objective goals, added another insect alien. Professor Veltar nodded in agreement. "The human team will participate in separate remedial exercises from now on. Clearly, they need special training to understand proper competitive behavior." The three humans were moved to a corner of the gymnasium. They were given simple individual exercises while the aliens continued with team challenges. It was humiliating, but they accepted it quietly. "Do they really think we are stupid?" Damin asked quietly. "They think strength and kindness mean stupidity," Jiwoo replied. "Their worlds are so safe that they forgot what it means to care for others." "Then they have never been truly strong," Taeho said. "My grandmother always said that real strength protects the weak." The alien students continued their competitions, believing they had proven their superiority over the savage Deathworlders. They did not realize that they had actually revealed something important about themselves. In all their advanced civilization, they had lost something essential that the humans still carried. But understanding would come soon enough. Sometimes it takes a crisis to show what really matters. 3 weeks into the semester, the gymnasium was busier than usual. More human students had arrived at the Galactic Academy. Cho Min-ho was a tall boy with quick reflexes. Kim Yu-jin was a girl who always paid attention to everything around her. They joined Taeho, Jiwoo, and Damin in the corner, where the humans did their separate exercises. Professor Veltar had installed new equipment for the day's lesson. The climbing walls were higher than before. Strange machines created artificial wind and changing gravity fields. She explained that students would practice climbing in difficult conditions, just like they might find on different planets. This exercise will test your ability to adapt to environmental changes, Professor Veltar announced. Her crystal body sparkled as she moved. The gravity simulator will create various challenges. Some areas will be lighter, others heavier. The wind generators will change direction randomly. The alien students seemed excited. They had never experienced anything like the dangerous conditions found on Deathworlds. For them, this was a thrilling adventure. For the humans, it was just another Tuesday. Crix went first. The insect alien started climbing confidently, but when the artificial gravity shifted, he lost his grip and fell onto the soft safety mats. He tried 3 more times but could not adjust to the changing conditions. Bloom attempted the wall next. Her tree-like body was strong but slow. When the wind generators started blowing, her large, leaf-covered arms caught the air like sails. She was pushed sideways and had to give up halfway up the wall. Vorth, with his cat-like agility, did better than the others. He managed to climb 2/3 of the wall before a sudden gravity change made him too heavy to continue. His proud golden fur was damp with sweat when he finally climbed down. The gas alien Zeph tried to use his floating ability to cheat, but the wind currents scattered his gaseous form inside his containment suit. He became dizzy and confused, spinning helplessly until Professor Veltar turned off the machines to let him recover. Challenging, as expected, Professor Veltar said. Environmental adaptation requires significant training for civilized species. The human students watched from their corner. They were supposed to be doing simple stretching exercises, but they could not help observing the climbing challenge. To them, it looked similar to rock climbing during thunderstorms back on Earth. Suddenly, warning lights began flashing throughout the gymnasium. A loud alarm sound echoed off the walls. Professor Veltar's crystal body flickered with concerned colors. "Attention, all students," came a voice from the communication system. "The gymnasium's gravity generator is malfunctioning. Please remain calm and stay in your current positions." But the situation was far from calm. The artificial gravity began fluctuating wildly. One moment everyone felt normal weight. The next moment they were nearly floating. Then suddenly they felt 3 times heavier than normal. The alien students panicked immediately. They had never experienced unstable gravity before. Their home worlds had perfect, consistent environments. They did not know how to react when conditions changed rapidly. Hin, a delicate butterfly-like alien from the Celesti species, had been practicing on the climbing wall when the malfunction began. Her thin, colorful wings were not designed for varying gravity. She became caught in a gravity fluctuation near the ceiling, unable to control her flight. "Help me," Hin called out in her musical voice. She was spinning helplessly, 30 feet above the hard gymnasium floor. The other alien students looked up at her but did not move. In their panic, they could not think clearly. Some species had never developed emergency response instincts because their worlds had no natural disasters. Others were frozen by the chaos around them. "Someone must help her," Bloom called out, but she could not climb in the unstable gravity. "The emergency services will arrive soon," Crix said, though his voice shook with uncertainty. But Hin was falling. The gravity fluctuation that had trapped her suddenly reversed, sending her plummeting toward the ground. She would hit the floor in seconds. The alien students could only watch in horror. Tejo did not think. He just moved. He ran across the gymnasium floor, his feet automatically adjusting to the changing gravity. Growing up on Earth meant dealing with earthquakes, storms, and other natural disasters. Unstable conditions were something his body understood. "Minho," Tejo shouted. "Eugene!" "Damin, Jiwoo." "Human chain." The Korean students responded instantly. They had all practiced emergency drills in school back on Earth. They knew how to work together when things went wrong. Minho braced himself against a wall and grabbed Tejo's legs. Eugene held Minho steady. Damin and Jiwoo positioned themselves to catch anyone who fell. They formed a human ladder just as Hin crashed down from the ceiling. Tejo caught the butterfly alien in his arms, absorbing the impact with his whole body. The gravity shifted again, making them all heavier, but the humans held their formation. They lowered Hin safely to the ground, but the crisis was not over. The gravity fluctuations had caused other problems. Crix was trapped under a piece of exercise equipment that had become 3 times heavier. Zeph's containment suit had cracked and his gaseous form was leaking out. Several other aliens were injured or stuck in dangerous positions. Yujin, help the floating alien with his suit, Taeho called out. Jiwoo, check for other injuries. Damin, help me move this equipment off cricks. Minho, guide the panicked ones to safe areas. The humans spread out across the gymnasium. They moved with practiced efficiency, their Deathworld survival training taking over. On Earth, natural disasters happened all the time. Koreans learned early how to help each other during emergencies. Yujin used her school first aid training to seal Zeph's cracked containment suit with emergency tape from a wall dispenser. Jiwoo checked each alien student for injuries, using the systematic approach they had learned for earthquake response. Damin and Taeho worked together to safely move heavy equipment, timing their efforts with the gravity fluctuations. Minho proved especially good at calming the frightened aliens. His gentle voice and confident movements helped them stop panicking. He guided them to areas where the gravity was more stable. Professor Veltar had been trying to reach the control room when the malfunction started. When she returned with emergency technicians, she found all her students safe. The humans had improvised medical stations using gymnasium equipment. They had cleared debris from dangerous areas. Most importantly, they had kept everyone calm and organized. Impossible, she whispered, her crystal body shimmering with amazement. How did you manage this? We helped each other, Taeho said simply. That is what you do in emergencies. The emergency technicians quickly stabilized the gravity generator. As normal conditions returned, the alien students slowly gathered around the humans. They looked confused and ashamed. Hin, her butterfly wings still trembling, approached Taeho. You saved my life, she said in her musical voice. But I called you a savage Deathworlder. I said cruel things about your species. That does not matter now, Taeho replied. You needed help. Anyone would have done the same. No, Forth said quietly. No, they would not have. We stood there and watched. We were too scared and confused to act. You just helped. All of you. The lion-like alien looked around at his friends. We called them brutal and uncivilized. But when real danger came, who acted civilized? Who showed honor and courage? For the first time since arriving at the academy, the gymnasium was completely quiet. The aliens stared at the humans with new understanding in their eyes. The Deathworlders they had mocked and dismissed had just saved their lives, but old prejudices die hard. Change would not come overnight. Still, something important had shifted in that moment. The aliens had seen what humans were really capable of, and it was not what they expected. The days after the gravity incident were different. The alien students no longer laughed when the humans entered the gymnasium. They did not make jokes about Deathworlders anymore. Instead, they watched the humans with curious, confused eyes. Bloom was the first to approach Taeho directly. The tree-like alien found him during the cool-down period after class. Her leaves rustled nervously as she spoke. I have been researching human culture, she said. Her voice was soft like wind through branches. I found information about Korean concepts. There is a word, jong. What does it mean? Taeho paused his stretching. He had not expected this question from an alien who had called him savage just weeks before. Jong is hard to explain in other languages, he said thoughtfully. It means deep care for others. Not just family, but everyone in your community, even strangers who need help. And nunchi? Bloom asked. Nunchi means understanding the feelings and needs of people around you, knowing when someone is sad, angry, or scared, even if they do not say it. Bloom's leaves shimmered as she processed this information. These concepts, they guide your actions? Of course, Taeho said. How could they not? The tree alien was quiet for a long moment. On Verdania, we care for our root families, but strangers, competitors, we do not feel responsible for them. Your species feels responsibility for everyone? Not everyone, Taeho admitted. But when someone needs help, yes, it is the right thing to do. Across the gymnasium, Vorth was having his own revelation. The proud lion-like alien had been watching Minho help injured alien students with physical therapy exercises. The human boy used techniques that Vorth had never seen before. Where did you learn these healing movements? Vorth asked. Minho looked up from where he was helping a small slug-like alien stretch a pulled muscle. My grandmother taught me. She said bodies are connected. When one part hurts, you must help the whole system heal. Your medical science taught you this? Not medical science. Traditional knowledge, old wisdom passed down through families. Vorth's golden eyes narrowed. But you have advanced technology on your world. Why use primitive methods? They are not primitive, Minho said gently. They are tested. Humans have used these techniques for thousands of years. Sometimes old ways work better than new ways. The Leonari alien watched as the slug-like alien's pain visibly decreased under Minho's careful treatment. Their own medical technology could heal injuries quickly, but it did not provide the comfort and understanding that came with Minho's gentle touch. Crix, meanwhile, was struggling with his own realizations. The insect alien had always prided himself on logical thinking, but the human's behavior during the emergency had been completely illogical by his standards. You stopped your own safety to help Hin, he said to Taeho one day after class. This makes no sense. She was not your responsibility. She was in danger, Taeho replied. That made her everyone's responsibility. But helping her put you at risk. A logical being would calculate the costs and benefits. Your life versus her life. The probability of success versus failure. Taeho shook his head. We do not calculate the value of lives. All lives have value. When someone is in danger, you help. That is not logic. That is being human. Crix's compound eyes reflected light as he processed this information. His species had evolved from hive insects where individual lives were calculated against the good of the colony. But humans seemed to treat every individual as equally important. Professor Veltar noticed the changes in her students. The aliens were asking more questions about human culture. They were observing human behavior more carefully. Some of them even started trying to copy human teamwork techniques. She decided to redesign the gymnasium curriculum. Instead of separating the humans, she created mixed groups. Aliens and humans worked together on new challenges. The results were surprising. When Bloom worked with Damin, the tree alien learned to move more efficiently by copying human movement patterns. When Vorth partnered with Ji-Woo, the lion alien discovered that cooperation could be more effective than individual dominance. But the most dramatic change came when new Korean students arrived. Park So-young was a cheerful girl who smiled at everyone. Lim Jae-hyun was a quiet boy who noticed everything. When they entered the gymnasium for the first time, something unexpected happened. The alien students did not stare in hostile silence. Instead, several of them approached the newcomers with cautious friendliness. Welcome to our gymnasium, Hin said to So-young, her butterfly wings sparkling with pleasant colors. I am Hin. The human students here they are good people. We have learned much from your species, added a small crystal-like alien named Zinc. Perhaps you can teach us more. So-young and Jae-hyun looked around in confusion. They had expected prejudice and hostility, based on what they had heard about alien attitudes toward Deathworlders. Instead, they found curiosity and respect. What happened here? So-young whispered to Taeho in Korean. We showed them who we really are, Taeho replied. The new dynamic created interesting situations. When the gymnasium held its next team challenge, mixed alien-human groups performed better than pure alien teams had ever done. The humans provided physical capabilities and crisis management skills. The aliens contributed their specialized knowledge and technologies. But more importantly, they were learning to understand each other. Bloom discovered that human brutality was actually controlled strength directed by compassion. Vorth learned that human weakness in helping others was actually a different kind of courage. Crix realized that human illogical behavior was based on values that made their society stronger. The aliens were beginning to see that civilization was not just about technology and advanced science. It was also about how you treated others, especially those who were different from yourself. Professor Veltar watched these developments with growing interest. She had taught at the Galactic Academy for decades, but she had never seen such rapid changes in student attitudes. The humans were not just participating in her classes anymore. They were transforming them. She began documenting the human training methods and teamwork techniques. Other professors started visiting her gymnasium to observe the mixed species cooperation. Word was spreading throughout the academy that something special was happening in the physical education program. The transformation was not complete yet. Some aliens still held their old prejudices. Some humans were still cautious about trusting their former tormentors. But the foundation had been laid. The Deathworlders had not conquered through strength or intimidation. They had won through patience, kindness, and the simple act of helping others when help was needed. They had shown the aliens that true civilization was not about technology or advancement. It was about how you treated those around you. And slowly, quietly, the aliens were beginning to understand what honor really meant. 2 months had passed since the gravity incident. The Galactic Academy had decided to hold a special ceremony to recognize the human students' heroic actions. Banners hung from the ceiling of the main auditorium. Representatives from dozens of alien worlds had come to attend. But when Academy officials approached Taiho and his friends with the invitation, the humans politely declined. "We do not need recognition," Taiho said simply. "We only did what anyone should do." "But you saved lives," insisted Administrator Quell, an elderly alien with purple skin and 4 arms. "Your bravery deserves acknowledgement." "We were not brave," Damin added. "We just helped people who needed help. That is normal." The alien officials were confused. In their cultures, heroic actions were celebrated with great ceremonies. Heroes received honors, titles, and rewards. But the humans seemed genuinely uninterested in glory. This humble response actually made the aliens respect the humans even more. Species that sought glory for their deeds were common throughout the galaxy. Species that did good deeds without wanting recognition were extremely rare. Vorth was the first alien to take formal action. He found Taiho after gym class one day and did something that shocked everyone watching. The proud lion-like alien got down on one knee and placed his right paw over his heart. "I perform the Ketvar," Vorth announced in a loud voice. "I acknowledge a true warrior's honor." The other alien students gasped. The Ketvar was the most sacred Leonari ritual. It was only performed for the greatest heroes in their history. Vorth had just declared that he considered Taiho equal to the legendary warriors of his homeworld. "You do not need to do this," Taiho said, uncomfortable with the attention. "Yes, I do," Vorth replied, still kneeling. "I called you savage. I said you had no honor. I was wrong. You have shown me what honor truly means." Bloom was next. The tree-like alien approached the group of humans and extended her branch-like arms. Small flowers bloomed from her fingertips, bright colors that filled the air with sweet scent. "I offer the root bond," she said solemnly. "Among Verdanians, this represents eternal friendship. We share nutrients and support each other through all seasons." Other aliens began performing their own cultural recognition ceremonies. Hin created beautiful light patterns with her butterfly wings, a celestial expression of gratitude that could be seen from space. Crix offered the Mentari hive acceptance, welcoming the humans as honorary members of his insect colony. Even Zeph, the gas alien, swirled his contained form into complex patterns that meant deep respect in Etherian culture. Professor Veltar watched these ceremonies with amazement. In all her years of teaching, she had never seen such displays of interspecies respect. The humans had not just earned acceptance, they had earned love. The changes went beyond personal relationships. Professor Veltar completely redesigned the gymnasium curriculum. The old separation between species was eliminated. Instead, mixed teams became the standard for all activities. The Academy administration took notice. They invited human instructors from Earth to teach courses on crisis management, emergency response, and team cooperation. What had once been considered Deathworld savagery was now seen as valuable knowledge that all species could benefit from. The gymnasium itself was rebuilt to include Earth-style obstacle courses and team-building exercises. The equipment that had once been designed for civilized species only was replaced with challenges that could accommodate different physical abilities while encouraging cooperation. But the most significant change came when the Academy announced its first intergalactic sports tournament. Schools from across the galaxy would compete in various challenges. For the first time in the tournament's history, mixed species teams were not only allowed but encouraged. Kim Min-jun and Song Hai-wan were the newest Korean students to arrive at the Academy. They walked into a completely transformed environment. Instead of hostility and prejudice, they found aliens who were eager to learn from humans. "Is it true that Deathworlders can teach us better ways to work together?" asked a young crystalline alien named Prism. "Can you show us those emergency response techniques?" requested a fuzzy bear-like alien called Warmth. Min-jun and Hai-wan looked around in amazement. The gymnasium was filled with mixed groups of aliens and humans working together on various challenges. Everyone seemed happy and cooperative. "What happened here?" Min-jun asked Taiho in Korean. "We just acted like ourselves," Taiho replied. Eventually they understood. The tournament preparation became the focus of the entire academy. Teams formed naturally, with aliens and humans choosing each other based on complementary skills rather than species prejudice. Tai-Ho found himself on a team with Vorth, Bloom, Crix, and Hin. At first it seemed like an unlikely combination. The lion alien was proud and aggressive. The tree alien was slow and methodical. The insect alien was logical and calculating. The butterfly alien was delicate and artistic, but under Tai-Ho's gentle guidance they learned to work together. Vorth's strength complemented Tai-Ho's endurance. Bloom's patience balanced Crix's quick thinking. Hin's grace added elegance to their teamwork. More importantly, they learned from each other. Tai-Ho discovered that Vorth's pride was actually deep loyalty to his friends. Bloom taught him that sometimes moving slowly meant moving wisely. Crix showed him that logic and emotion could work together. Hin demonstrated that being gentle did not mean being weak. The tournament arrived with great celebration. Schools from across the galaxy sent their best teams. The challenges were designed to test not just physical ability, but teamwork, problem-solving, and mutual support. Many teams relied on individual stars or specialized advantages, but Tai-Ho's mixed team used a different approach. They supported each other through every challenge. When one member was weak in an area, the others covered for them. When someone excelled, they used that strength to help the whole team. They did not win every individual challenge, but they won something more important. They won together. In the final event, teams had to rescue simulated crash victims in a complex disaster scenario. Most teams focused on speed and efficiency. Tai-Ho's team focused on making sure everyone, including their victim, was safe and comfortable. When the results were announced, Tai-Ho's team had won the overall tournament. But more importantly, they had demonstrated a new way of competing. Other teams began asking how they could learn these cooperation techniques. Vorth was chosen to give the acceptance speech. The proud lion alien stood before representatives from dozens of worlds and said words that would be remembered throughout the galaxy. We came here believing that honor meant individual strength and superiority over others. We learned from our human teammates that true honor means using your strength to lift others up. We thought civilization meant advanced technology and refined culture. We discovered that real civilization means caring for those who are different from yourself. He gestured toward Tai-Ho and the other humans in the audience. These beings come from a world we called savage and dangerous, but they taught us what it means to be truly civilized. They showed us that the strongest societies are those that protect their weakest members. They demonstrated that real warriors are those who fight to help others, not to dominate them. The applause that followed was unlike anything ever heard at the Academy. It came from dozens of different species, each expressing appreciation in their own way. But the most meaningful response came from the humans themselves. They simply smiled and clapped politely, still humble despite their triumph. After the ceremony, aliens from across the galaxy approached the Academy administration asking for human exchange students and instructors. The Deathworld species that had once been scorned was now sought after as teachers and partners. But perhaps the most important change was in the gymnasium itself. The walls were now decorated with phrases in multiple languages, including Korean. One phrase suggested by Tai-Ho was written in bright letters above the main entrance. True strength protects. True courage serves. True honor lifts others higher. The aliens had finally learned what honor really meant, and they had learned it from the Deathworlders they had once despised. As Tai-Ho walked through the gymnasium one last time before graduation, he thought about his grandmother's words. Respect is earned through actions, not words. The aliens had learned to respect humans not because they were forced to, but because they had seen what humans were truly capable of. The Deathworlders had not conquered through violence or intimidation. They had won through kindness, cooperation, and the simple belief that everyone deserved help when they needed it. And in teaching the aliens about honor, the humans had discovered something too, that the values they had learned on their dangerous world were not weaknesses to be ashamed of, but gifts to be shared with the galaxy.